If you are playing as a miner, then most of your points will come from the inactive farming event. What you want to do is optimize your account for the event. That can be tricky, but it's more than worth doing. In this video, I will be covering all the tips I can think of for a miner that will help you do better in the inactive farming event as well. So for the basic strategy, what I do is I deploy between two moons. If I bring this up, you can see the deployment is currently going. It doesn't really matter if I show you that, as the moons I deploy between are random. Then when the fleet arrives, I collect up all the resources, see if I can upgrade a mine from there, then deploy between two moons again. I repeat the process, building up my mines slowly as I go. So I'll just bring this up. Fleet and collect resources. I just built the one cargo so I can bring this up. Obviously I'd have a lot more, then I'll just click like cargo and collect up on all the planets, then collect resources. Then that would bring all the resources from all my planets to the one I'm currently on. If I bring that up again, there is a gather resources as well. I never use that personally, but it's something that may be useful. I never really use the gather fleets either. It can be useful to check if there are fleets on other planets that you may have forgotten though. So worth checking occasionally, just to make sure you have all the fleets in one place. That way you won't lose any resources or fleet to an enemy player. The best positions are between 7 and 9. That gives you the most fields plus a decent boost to metal production. If I go over to my planets, you can see here they are all in position 8. If you are playing in an older uni though, you may find positions 7 to 9 have pretty much all gone. You will need to wait until inactives are deleted or moved about. That normally happens before the inactive farming event. That's my long list of planets I have anyway. The other thing you want to do here is try and spread them out as much as possible. Don't put all your planets right next to each other. Someone can come along and just pop all the moons, farm all the planets. Well, 16 of them anyway, since you have an attack limit, and that will cause you massive problems, so definitely don't do that. You can put a few planets together, just don't put them all together, otherwise you will have major problems. I think the setup I have here is pretty much optimal. Planets spread out in all of the galaxies, that proves to be useful for the inactive farming event as well. If I bring up the resources page, the main mine to focus on is the metal mine. In position 8 this has a boost, so try and get that as high as possible. Don't neglect the other mines, but bear in mind the deuterium mine doesn't really give too much back compared to the other mines, so it should be your last priority, so to speak. Now early on, just build solar satellites, don't bother with solar plants or the fusion reactor that I have. These will give you more than enough energy, plus you need to keep your fields for mines and the other buildings you need. Once you reach the sort of stage I'm at though, you can build a fusion reactor. With a high level of energy technology, this actually gives huge amounts of energy, you can see here, plus cannot be destroyed, so it becomes really useful later game. I am currently working on something with the solar power plant as well, or should I say I'm testing it out. You can see here though, the energy it gives is really poor, so you shouldn't build these unless you are messing about basically. I just want to see if it's actually possible to power your mines with one of these, but I probably won't get that far. Anyway, let's move on to the facilities. Now at a later game stage you can take most of these buildings as high as you want. Early on though you should minimise how high you take these so you don't run out of fields. Robot factory you need a few levels of. Nanite factory, that's the only one I think you should try and take as high as possible. Nanites are really useful, you can see here what they do. Shipyard you don't need too high. That's what mine is at. Research lab. At a later game stage you will find all researches take very little time. Early on you will need this though. University. To start with, you only really need this on the one planet, but later on it can be quite useful to be able to do research from any planet. Then Terraformer, of course, when you get low on fields, you want to build that up. I don't use the missile silo, but it's something I may consider using later on. Because it takes fields, I don't recommend building this until a very late game stage. And there we go, that's pretty much all of the buildings I would recommend building as a miner. You will also need, if I just bring this up, I forgot to mention this, the storages as well. You only really need to upgrade these when your production is higher than the storage. Just look at the production per day and storage. If the production per day is higher, then upgrade the storage. I have gone far too high here, but since I had the fields to do that, I thought I might as well. Let's bring up the research page. I will talk through some of the ones that I think are important. Cargo technology, astrophysics, mineral technology, crystallization technology, fuel technology, and hyperspace engine are, in my opinion, the most important ones. Obviously, all researchers are important to a certain extent. For example, if you don't research computer technology, you won't have any fleet slots. The 6 that I mentioned, though, those are the ones that I think are the most important. I will talk through why right now. Cargo technology increases the cargo capacity. That's essential for the inactive farming event. Astrophysics, that gets you new planets, plus it also increases the amount of expeditions you can do, so this really is an essential research to go for. Mineral technology increases metal mine production, crystallization increases crystal, fuel technology increases deuterium production, then finally the hyperspace engine. That makes cargoes and quite a lot of the combat ships faster, so that is really important for the inactive farming event again. A 30% increase on the base value. That's not as much as you might think, but it's still a very important research to go for, especially later game. If I bring up the Academy techs, you do want to try and improve all of these on all 3 pages. But there are a few that are really important. The most important one, believe it or not, is the larger fleet space, since you're trying to get your fleet to have more storage for the inactive farming event. That should be your top priority. Second most important one, I would say, is the resource extraction. Then just try and improve all the other ones when you can. You probably won't need the storage mastery that much. You won't need the research mastery either at a later game stage. Researches should be close to 0 seconds by then with a bit of luck. The shield dome technology and the defense of the planet 1, I don't think these are worth going for personally. It doesn't give enough for what it is. You can see here +2, +12 and +72. You will get that anyway just from upgrading your mines, so everything else I think you should go for, just not a few of those on the miners page that I can currently upgrade. At least if you do go for them, don't take them too high. If we go over to the shipyard, the ships that you need as a miner are obviously cargoes. You will need some probes as well. You probably will need some recyclers, colony ships to get a planet when you can. You want asteroid miners as well. Asteroids are very important for a miner. Out of the combat ships, battleships are probably the best ship. If you can use these for the inactive farming event, they are actually really effective. You will need a lot of them though, but they have decent speed, plus they also have a decent storage capacity. You can see here, well, that's the upgraded value anyway. You will need some good text to make this work, but it's something you can consider later on, building a lot of battleships and using that for inactive farming. Early on though, you will probably want to use the light cargoes. These are faster than the heavy cargoes. There we go. I know the speed value is similar to the battleships, but If you have the Commander class during the inactive farming event, you get a 50% speed increase to combat ships, and that makes the battleships really fast. That's why I recommend building battleships for the inactive farming event at a later game stage. Many players do build Reapers and Falcons. Reapers are okay, but you don't really need these for inactive farming, which is why I don't build them anymore. I did to start with, just not anymore, as I don't think they are that useful. Some players also use Falcons as well to bash defences. Since most of your points will be from the inactive farming event, plus these are quite slow, I don't really recommend building these. Just stick with battleships and cargoes, then build probes, recyclers, colony ships and asteroid miners as you need them. Finally, you may also need a Death Star to fleet save. This is the slowest ship in the game. This will help you to do those long fleet saves, and when deploying between moons, take it up to around 5 or 6 hours. Without one of those, it's quite difficult to get a longer time, so to speak. Moving on to defense, I don't recommend wasting too much time on defense. I'll just bring up a planet at random to show what I have done. What I recommend building are light lasers, photon cannons, then all of the 6 limited units, especially focusing on the orbital defense platforms. I'll just explain why. Building light lasers forces the attacker to send more ships. Photon cannons pretty much destroy most of the ships apart from the 3 heavy ones at the end. Orbitals as well basically destroy anything apart from the 3 heavy ships. The 3 heavy ships are Falcons, Avatars and Death Stars. Doom cannons as well. These are really good for destroying ships. Fortresses here, then shield domes to finish. If you build something like this and you are collecting up a few times per day, you shouldn't really need too much more, even at the level I am currently at. Don't spend all your resources on defense, then try and hide your fleet behind it. Someone will almost definitely destroy you. The settings of this universe as well. 5% defense debris, that doesn't really make too much difference, but fleet debris 80%, that definitely does. That's why hiding a fleet behind a defense is a bad idea. If I move on to expeditions, you want to keep these going with low value ships. If I bring up the recent ones here, the main reason to farm expeditions is for the dark matter and containers. I didn't get any on that set. If I scroll through though, I should. There we go, there's a dark matter find. There's a couple more as well. Earlier on, these give more dark matter. When you farm them later on, they give less and less rewards, unfortunately. So if you get dark matter on the first few, that will always be the highest amount you get. I'll just bring up what I'm sending. It's just a very small fleet basically. This is all you need to get containers and dark matter, and since most of your profits will be from mines and asteroid farming outside of the inactive farming event, I think that's pretty much all you need to send, even at my stage in the game. In other words, just build a small fleet and keep sending it. No one is likely to attack it, and that gets you the dark matter and the containers. Let's move on to asteroid mining. If I scroll down, this is one of the key features when playing as a miner. So let's put it on the galaxy view. Let's scroll down. Any asteroids currently available? There are, yes. Let's go ahead and get them. So what you want to do is click on the furthest number. I'll just do that again. Then use the arrow keys here to scroll through. There we go. Then once you've found the asteroid, click on it, then send your asteroid miners. There we go. That's that done. Then you can repeat the process with the other asteroids. There we go, let's get this one. You can also use the arrow keys on the keyboard. Oh, that's quite a near one. There we go, that's that typed in. Obviously, you need to send less asteroid miners if you have a smaller account. This is what I'm getting from Asteroid Mining currently. It's pretty decent chunks of resources. You can see here, you sometimes get dark matter and containers as well. This is from yesterday, near the end of my farming. Lesser rewards unfortunately, but the first asteroids always give really good rewards. For that reason, they are kind of essential as a miner. Highly recommend you focus on them as much as possible. The amount of resources you get from asteroid mining is dependent on your mine level, so you will just have to play around until you find the optimal amount to send. Finally, how should you spend your dark matter? Well, let's go over to the shop. I think early on you will definitely need the planet field items. Silver works out pretty decent value, however there is a 96-hour cooldown on using the item. So what you want to do here is try and upgrade multiple planets at once. You sometimes get planet field items from containers, but they are quite rare unfortunately. If we go over here, Empire Protection is useful for the Chaos event. You may want to consider getting a 2-day one for that. You shouldn't really need Empire Protection at other stages in the game though, except during the inactive farming event. When you go to bed, activate Empire Protection, then deactivate it when you come back online. That prevents you from losing moons and having to fleet save as well. I would recommend focusing mainly on the planet field items though with your dark matter, and also saving a decent chunk of dark matter for the inactive farming event. That will allow you to automatically trade your resources and speed up building mines when you need to. 2 million dark matter is a good aim for the inactive farming event. That's normally how much I go for anyway. Plus you will want to change your class to Commander if I just bring that up quickly. Commander class here. Let's put it on the choose class. You can see the 50% speed for warships and recyclers, plus the 10 extra fleet slots, both essential for the inactive farming event when it does come around. And there we go, I think I'm pretty much done with this video. I hope you found that interesting and helpful. If there's anything I've missed out, please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding this video, also feel free to let me know and I'll do my best to help. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. I've included a previous video on the screen. Check that out if it looks interesting. You can also subscribe from here if you want to. And thanks for watching.